to kind of like one of our check-ins. I know that a lot of the sites are in their work-based learning portion of their grants, and so we really just wanted to check in and see how that's going. One of the things we're trying to build out right now, it's kind of like a year in review, and so like I said, you'll have more information about that soon, but I just wanted to let you guys know that that's coming. Just to, now that you guys have had these grants, it will be a year next month. I can't even believe it. So we wanted to really sit back, listen to you guys, any feedback. This is really where we look. So if you wanted to get your teams together, your internal teams, and just kind of talk about your programs, and if we had to do this again with your exact program or with your sector, what would you change? And so some of the feedback I would think, especially for some of the sites, is the length of your program. So if you say, you know what, this is a really long program that we have, and it's really difficult to keep our youth engaged for 2-3 years in a training program, we think if we shortened it up to maybe 12 months or 6 months, that we could get, a lot more youth through the program and to stay committed to the program. Also, you know what, we really need to work on our relationships with employers and get that feedback directly from them and have them engaged in our projects from the beginning. Would be some feedback I would think that most projects would use or say. So just thinking about your projects, like I said, that's coming, but really start thinking about your projects, and if you had to do this all over again, knowing what you know now, how would you construct your programs and everything? Or if you say, you know what, we thought manufacturing was a good sector, and for this part of the state or with the employers that we have around, our part of the state, it's not a good sector. Maybe you would change sectors completely, or maybe you would change the credentials. And one of the things that I really wanted to stress to everyone is that I've learned that with this population that we serve with youth, they need multiple opportunities to take their credentialing test. That's even the basic ones. So like the OSHA 10, OSHA 30 that they're getting, CPR, stuff that we, would think that, okay, they'll pass it on the first time. They really need multiple opportunities to take those, kind of like practice tests or stepping stones, I would call them, for their credentials. And then with the actual credential test, they need multiple opportunities. So just some of the things to start thinking about with your programs. And I just wanted to kind of let you guys know that is coming down the pipeline. Does anybody have any questions about that? Like I said, we will definitely have more information for you, but just some stuff to start thinking about if you want to start jotting some stuff down. Or if you say, you know what, hey, we really need to know. I know we added the year follow-up, so that's something definitely with the next round that we've already added at the forefront. So that's feedback that we've taken directly from you guys and said, hey, this is something we really need to let grantees know. In the beginning, there is always a year of follow-up, and actually help you guys develop and build that into your programs that are already existing. So just think about that and different feedback. One of the things I wanted to do was go through our list again and just do a quick check-in. We should really be flying through this thing today because we recently went over it a couple weeks ago. But I just wanted to make sure no one's numbers have changed. So if you can go ahead and get your sheets out with your numbers, and then let us know how the job sites are going, or if you have any feedback. If you say, hey, we have a job site where we placed 4 youth, and for the next go-around, I think that, if we had to do it all over again, I don't think we would place 4 youth at one site. Or, we're in manufacturing and we placed 4 youth, and really we could have placed 14 at one site. So just give us some, some feedback on that. And then let us know how your relationships with the employers are going. And I wanted to make sure that everyone has entered their employers in Illinois WorkNet, and that those work site placement information is in there in the system. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Let me see if we have, perfect, Youth Built McLean. I'm going to you. Oh, sorry, hold on, let's see. Peoria Public Schools. Can we go first? I need to step away. Sure, there you go. Michael, you can go ahead and take it away.
Thank you. Sorry about that. We're going to try to have a fire drill in our building at 11:30, so I just didn't want to start. I have to go out and watch what's going on. But thank you very much. We currently have 2 pathways we're looking at, IT and healthcare. And we just found out that some more of our students got credentialed in CNA. So we're up to a total
Yay.
of 12 students that have met their CNA credential, which is very good.
12 in CNA out of the 40, right?
Correct. And I want to just do a
Okay.
shout out to Methodist College because they're one of our new partners that have helped us with this mission. They ran a boot camp for us. They set up and work with us to create a different testing date for our students. We couldn't have done and been as successful without their partnership. So Dr. Setti was huge into this, as well as a lot of her staff that really went above and beyond, and I can't thank them enough, and I just wanted all of you to know on the grant end how helpful that they were to us. And that
I'm noting that down.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing I would share with everyone is that when we're in a region that we have students that need that extra support, we need to go out and do that whenever we can. We had students that weren't successful at the first time, and we realized to do this test again what we need to do differently. And I think that's one of the things that we learned, that our students needed an extra boot camp. It wasn't just the courses that they needed more, individualized testing for a pre and a post test to see, what they were missing, what extra skills we needed to give them, and then give them a post test at the end to see how well they increased. And usually the students had increased about 10 percentage points between the original and then afterwards. I mean, it was a big thing. Another lessons learned is that we looked at programs that were not outside of our school that we currently have. And, one things that we have to do different regarding credentials, and maybe we should have looked at a different credential for students taking the IT pathway. Maybe this was too high of a benchmark for them. I mean, there's a lot of, and maybe we should have offered them extra supports. We weren't successful the first go-around. We did a second go-around. Now we're at a third go-around that we're realizing that students need to spend more time in these things, just like we did in healthcare. So and I'm just curious if everyone else is facing that same challenge.
I have a quick question for you, Michael.
Sure.
The credential, you have the CompTIA
Correct.
A+,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
Okay. And so far you guys have 1 out of 10?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And then for the other 28 that didn't pass the CNA, are they going to take it again?
Well, and I mentioned this the last time. We have 2 groups of students that are taking the CNA. There was, I want to say, and I don't have the sheet. Maybe Tanisha can guide me on this, but I want to say there was 15 students that took it on this year. We took half of them did it first semester, the other half did the second semester, and then we have a whole nother group that are going to take it next year because this is a 2-year program that we have. So we'll have another 22 that'll take it next year.
Okay. And then the ones that didn't pass, so say the ones that are in this first cohort that took it already,
correct.
Will they have another opportunity? They'll take it again next year with the next group?
They actually took it 3 times, so they have to actually redo. So unfortunately, those are some of our students that weren't successful after taking the test 3 times.
Okay. And that's out of 15, 12. So really it's out of 15, right?
Correct.
Okay, so only 3 students didn't pass.
It's actually 4. It's 4. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, and again, lessons learned. If we would have done the boot camp originally with them, they might have had a better chance to pass it on the first round.
Right.
Which we didn't do that. We did it the second time and the third time, but at that point, sometimes when we're dealing with more of an at-risk population of students, their self-esteem, once they have that failure, it's hard to bring them back up.
Absolutely.
And that again, that's one of the things we learned. I will say this, we've been very successful in the health occupations with partnering again with the local hospitals in the area, that they basically told us any student that passes that CNA exam, we will get them a job. So.
Wow, what hospital is that?
That's with OSF and with Methodist.
OSF?
Yes.
Okay, it's called OSF Hospital?
Yes.
It's actually I'm sorry, this is Courtney from Methodist College. It's OSF
Oh, hey,
St.
Courtney.
Francis Medical Center. Hi. So OSF is the healthcare organization, but they own several hospitals, a lot actually, throughout the central Illinois. So,
Awesome. So
but it is
OSF
OSF is Order of St. Francis is what it stands for.
Thank you.
Got it. Order of St. So for the 12 that passed it, they are ready to get in touch with OSF, if I'm right?
Yes, Tanisha, who's on the call right now, is working with those students to try to, and again, they just passed. They took the assessment on the 9th, and they just found out Sunday night that they passed.
Oh, good.
So,
Okay.
yeah,
This
very
is
fresh
perfect.
data, very fresh.
Yeah, but that's 12, like you said, at least you learn some things in the midst of all of this. But
Yep.
for a hospital to let you know, hey, whoever you have, we need them and we can place them, that's what this design is meant to do.
Yep.
Is that, hey, I leave the arms of, Peoria Public Schools, and they already have a partnership and a connection with OSF, my goodness, say that 5 times. And then the job is there. It's already created. And then if they would like to continue on, so out of the 12, are any of them saying that they would like to go to post-secondary if they want to get their BS in, or are they saying, you know what, the CNA is good for me, and I want to do the employment part?
I would say a majority of them want to go on. And they're looking at whether it's a 4-year university or with ICC continuing their credential as an RN.
Okay. Yeah, can you guys let us know after the call or whatever, because we're going to move on. But
Sure.
Let us know how that goes with St. Francis and the 12 young people that took it, and then how many of those 12 are either going to go on to try to get their BS in or just say, you know what, I'm going to start working. So that way we can keep a track of that data, too, because that's important.
Yes.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
All right, next one, let's see. Let me start on my list. So we have Youth Build, McLean County.
Hi, Tara. This is Tracy with Youth Build McLean County. We haven't had, we're nearing the end of our second cohort term. We'll be bringing in an additional 25 students this summer who are ready to go. We've done the eligibility determination, and we'll be starting our summer cohort June 18th. We have 29 students we have 43 students that are enrolled in construction now. Some of those students will roll over into the summer. And we have 29 of those that have obtained their credential, and here in the last week we've had 4 additional students. And we have 21 students enrolled in healthcare, with 12 of those having their credential, 21 students in IT, with 8 of those receiving their credential, and we have another 8 that we'll be adding this week. We'll be wrapping up their CompTIA, so we're really excited about that push right at the end. The students have been doing their work-based learning. We've had a really great response from our healthcare partners in terms of employment opportunities afterwards. There's a lot of commercial building happening here in McLean County, so we're getting our students some exposure to some different building opportunities with some commercial building in town. They visited some job sites and talked to employers. We held a job fair a few weeks ago to give our students an opportunity to interview with local employers, and we're just making plans for how we're going to transition our current trainees into that kind of follow-up period where they're in work or in additional post-secondary training. In our healthcare program, we had a lot of students, a lot of young people who really had no idea about any of the different career paths in healthcare. I think that that's probably been one of the best things that this apprenticeship has done, which was to expose our young people to something more than just being an RN, which is, I think, what a lot of them thought that's what you do when you work in a hospital. If you're not a doctor, then you're a nurse. And so we've been able to expose them to a lot of different healthcare careers. And so we expect that most of the participants in that program will continue to work and continue to train in healthcare occupations. So we're really excited about just seeing them get excited about the possibilities and it not feeling quite as overwhelming as they maybe thought, because you don't have to be a nurse to have a great job and to you know, make great money and work in the healthcare field. So it's been a really great segue. I think that, and we've had a great response from businesses, especially in the healthcare. They're really eager to hire, to snatch up any of these graduates that are willing to work for them. But we suspect that a lot of them will end up going on to continuing training. So hopefully they'll be able to work with their new credential and then while they're finishing up some advanced degrees. So that's what our hope is, and that's what we're going to encourage our students to do. I think that in hindsight, I think that if we were going to write this grant again, we probably would put more of an emphasis on the residential construction. We put the majority of our students in, you know, over half of the participants were enrolled in, or planning to be enrolled in residential construction. And USILD is known for being a school that does that kind of training, and it's been wildly popular. So we've actually had to, you know, we've filled slots for people. We weren't able to fill all of the, we weren't able to meet the interest because we lacked the number of slots for those opportunities. So I think that maybe if we were going to do the grant again, we would have more slots in construction and maybe less in healthcare, just because that's where the interest seems to be. That's where our students are really excited about construction. We have had a lot of young women who are really interested in construction, which is something that is a little unusual. We did healthcare for the very reason that we were hoping to increase the number of female participants that we had, and you know, and I guess stereotypically or generally, they tend to be more interested in healthcare and in MIT, but it didn't work that way. They showed some interest and, you know, some skill in that construction field, and there's some real possibilities for them to even get some employment. So I think that that's what we would do.
So I have a question for the 29 that are in construction. Did they get their NCCER in carpentry or green building?
They got their NCCR in carpentry.
Got it. And then what about the forklift? Did they get the forklift too?
Only the people who are 18 and older are able to get forklift.
Okay. 18 or older. And then the ones that are in your health science got the clinical medical assistant, is that right?
Yes.
Or did they get the CNA?
Right. It's the CCMA.
CCMA, clinical, certified clinical medical assistant. Okay. And so they'll be able to work at a hospital with that certificate?
That's right, or in a doctor's office or in a nursing center, you know, provided.
Do you know how that's different from the CNA? Which one is not better, but which one?
Yeah. So the CNA is a nursing assistant, and the medical assistant is different.
Okay, so that's more clinics, like you said, clinics or things like that.
Yeah.
Got it. Clinics. Awesome.
And then we're doing
the
CompTIA for IT. CompTIA for IT.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay. Awesome. Thank you for that update. Okay, I have you down for 6 employers. Is that right?
That's correct.
And then did you send me, you probably did, my weeks have been crazy, new grants are going out, but did you send me the 6 employers and the wages for those?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. Okay, that is a thing of mine to check my emails this week for that. Okay, thank you so much for that update.
All right, thank you.
All right, Prairie State, go ahead.
Documentation.
Is Prairie State on? They're probably not on. Nope, Prairie State's not on. Okay, moving right along. Methodist, Courtney.
Oh, yes.
I think it's the right time.
So we started out with, I'm sorry?
Oh, no,
Are you there?
somebody else is talking.
Oh, okay. We started out with 6 apprentices, and unfortunately, 2 of them, well, one was already a CNA, so she was not scheduled to start until the fall, or till spring semester. And she was working with Unity Point, which is our employer. So the other students went through the CNA program and all passed and were successful, so those 5. After that, they were going on to the medical assistant program, and one decided to obtain employment somewhere else out of state. So she was successful because she passed the CNA, but she did not move on to medical assisting. And then we were down to 4, and we just they finished their first semester of the medical assistant program, and 2 have decided not to continue. So we're down to 2 more. In hindsight, I think part of the problem is that the program is a little bit longer than most traditional programs, and we had to find people to start, and we only had a very short window of time to find applicants, to publicize, to promote, to accept people, to go through all of the healthcare vaccinations and everything. So it was just a little bit of a challenge in that way. Also, I think that the demographic of students, they need more support, and some of that support we were not able to give to them. I believe that this is a successful program. It has the potential to really be very successful. I just don't know that with the students we have, I think the final 2 will end up finishing the medical assistant program and passing their exam. But it's unfortunate that we started out with 6 and we're only down to 2. So that's sort of where I'm at. But, we've learned a lot from this apprenticeship, definitely. And I have enjoyed doing it. So.
And you guys have been doing a lot of hard work, so that, that is another thing to note, that it's not due to a lack of,
well, thank you.
trying,
I appreciate that.
Things like that.
I've lost sleep over it, so.
Oh my goodness.
It's been a challenge, but we want these girls to be successful, and I think that they have their CNA, and that's a good thing, because the 2 that are leaving us this semester, even though they didn't finish the medical assistant, they have their CNA and they can work. So that's good. Right. They're better off than they were before.
Exactly, and that's really how you have to look at it. And this is also a real reality of working with youth. And I always tell people this, like if I ever read a grant and it says, I'm going to have 100 people in the program and 100 people are going to be certified, I look at the program and say, are you crazy? Because it's not realistic. People just, life happens to people. People drop out. People stop coming for a little while, and then you got to re-engage them. And so this is the information and the feedback that we really need from you guys to say we are actually in the field touching people. We are in, on the front line. And this is what we see. We see a highly stressed population. We're trying to keep them motivated. We're trying to keep our staff motivated, just things that happen in life. And so I think kind of like the year in review will be very beneficial for everyone, so we can really see a clear picture of our program.
I agree. Thank you. And we thank you for all of your support as well. It's been a challenge, but I think that we've learned quite a bit. And I believe that if we had had a little bit more time to have more applicants, I think that we would be, would have had. We have an expensive program too, so there's just a lot of barriers, but I think though that the success of the partial success is worth it, because again, they're doing better than they were when they walked in the door.
Right, and make sure when Dr. Setti gets that email, because she's the grant manager, but just shoot her a quick email. I really want you to be a part of the kind of like the focus group if you have time in your schedule, because I know you were working directly with the girls, and so I know that you'll be able to give us a lot of good feedback. So.
Oh, well, I would love to do that, so I'll let her know.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Nancy Cohen?
Good morning.
Hey.
Everything's going well here. We've got 4 right now in the class, and 3 of them are placed. 2 of them started tomorrow at Pepsi Mid-America. So we've got people at Pepsi, at a boat manufacturing, and at a kind of like a chemical facility in Heron. So right now, everything's going well. We're still looking for additional participants in the youth area. But other than that, that's about all I can tell you.
And you have 3 that have their credentials, right? Or is it 2 that have the full MSSC?
I have 2 have full credentials, and the rest of them all have got just, let's see, one has 3 tests passed. She's getting ready to get her 4th. Once she passes her 4th, she'll have her full certification. And then the other 3 have all passed their first certification and working towards finishing their second module, and they'll be testing for their second module probably in about a week and a half, well, maybe 2 weeks.
Okay. Perfect. All right. Well, let us know, like I said, once those, we want to see the people that got their full, let me know so I can update your numbers, because that's really good when I'm talking about your program. They say, although we have, looks like a total of 6 people in the program, we have 2 with their full, credentials. So just let me know.
I will. Thank you.
All right. OAI?
Good morning. This is Don. We have not gotten to the point of placements, worksite placements yet. Our students are going to take their final certifications, their NIMS certifications, which are 1 and 2, over the next month or so. So mid-June is when we will have our placements. And the employers that we've contacted about this group of 19 are very excited because of the additional credentials beyond what most of our typical cohorts have. So we've gotten some great response. Tara, I think the last time we spoke, I said that all of our out-of-school youth have all of their forklift and OSHA, the 40-hour forklift and the 10-hour OSHA certifications. The 9 out of school have that. The 10 in school, an update is that the one that did not have his forklift did complete the test last week, and we're awaiting getting the certificate. So all of them have their forklift, and 2 have scheduled the makeup of the OSHA. So they'll all have the full complement of certifications, pending how they do on the NIMS tests.
Right. Okay. Perfect. Anything else, Don?
No, that's it.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you for the update.
Mm-hmm.
City of Peoria? Not on? All right. Peoria Public Schools did their Phalanx.
Yes, this is Natasha from Phalanx.
Hello? Natasha, can you speak up a little louder? Or yeah, there we go.
Yes. Yes. So not much has changed since the last update. We are still in the process of recruiting for our second cohort. However, the first cohort, we had 12, and out of 12, 8 of them received their BPI weatherization certification. Is there an echo?
I was going to say it one more time. I couldn't hear you.
Okay. So out of the 12, 8 completed their BPI weatherization certification. And all 12 have received an industry recognized credential as well. So all 12 received industry recognized credentials, and then 8 of them completed their BPI certification.
Okay. And then I have you have 4 working, right?
Yeah, so we currently have 4 working. I think our biggest tackle has been that all the youth in that program, as I've stated, were pretty good in the beginning. It was towards the last 2 certifications that we started having youth kind of fall off a bit, but everyone was we had mostly boys, we had 1 girl, and everyone was pretty excited about the program. I think what we're struggling with now is that now that this first cohort is over, keeping them motivated to work. So while we were having our program, everyone was receiving $400 biweekly while they were in training. And then once the training was over, getting them to feel that self-responsibility to show up to interviews or go on a work experience has kind of been a challenge because we have opportunities on the table for them, but some of them have just lost interest in working, or they kind of still want this classroom setting. And so just trying to help them identify about being young adults and now it's time to work has been a bit of a challenge, especially now because the training is over. So our contact daily with them is not as consistent as it was before. Also, I think what we would need to change in our program is that our grant only had enough for stipends, not for work experience. So we co-enrolled most of our youth in our other WIOA program in order to afford a work experience for them. And WIOA is only like $8, I think, and 25 cents an hour. And so getting our youth motivated that, hey, that's only for like a couple of weeks and then you'll get hired. So a lot of them are just not enticed when they hear that, oh, it's only $8 an hour while I'm on work experience. And so because of that, it's kind of harder to get the rest of them engaged in finding permanent employment, because if they don't want to do that, then they will have to go to job fairs and interviews and really get out there with the leads that we're giving them for employment, and a lot of them don't see that responsibility. So just trying to get them out of the head that jobs are just handed to them, but rather that, hey, if you don't want to do that, then yeah, you're going to definitely have to work for it, you know,
Right.
what you want. So I think that's been the difficult issue. Perhaps if we had enough in our grant or requested more for work experience, something like $10 an hour for 20 hours a week, that probably would have helped once our cohort was over, of getting most of them transitioned into employment. But as far as our other youth, everyone, really all our youth, but like one, which I just think is like a little bit sour about the program, loved the program. I'm pretty sure if I could re-enroll all of them again, they probably would do it again, just because our trainers were really good. Genesis Construction, we're just really good with our young men. So now we're just in the pursuit of recruiting for the next cohort, and this time we'll be offering HVAC certifications. Yeah, so we're trying to recruit at least 10 more, and then hopefully most of those youth will pass the program successfully.
Okay, and then so when you said this, it kind of jumped out at me. When you guys do the year in review thing, please note that your agency and any other agencies that have done this, but if you guys have paid for training or did stipends or something, let me know at that time, you know, when we do it. It won't be me that's asking you guys the questions. There'll be another party. But let me know if you think the stipends were really good for the students, or if, like you said, once you stop giving the stipends, it's kind of hard to keep them engaged, you know, and saying, hey, so just something to think about. But when you said it, it kind of like sparked my mind. So just so my numbers are quick, so we have 12 that have the NCCR?
Yeah, all 12 have NCCR. All 12 have OSHA 10.
Got it.
Out of 12 of them, I want to say 10 of them completed their EPA renovative training. It's like as we got closer to finishing all the certifications, that's when like the numbers start dwindling like one by one or two by two. But everyone has received industry recognized credentials. But everyone received NCCR, OSHA 10, and then after those, it was like 8 finished EPA, 9 finished forklifting, 8 finished BPI. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, perfect. Thank you for the update.
No problem.
All right, next group, manufacturing renaissance.
Hi, Tara. This is Isaac on the call. I'm going to do kind of a brief overview of what we've talked about previously, and then I'll let Ted come on board to talk a little bit about the job. So overall, we have 25 students total in our program, 9 of which are juniors, and 16 of which are seniors. So primarily what we've done, we just actually did the CPS job fair where I worked closely with the seniors. It was for seniors only. About 300 students were invited. And I worked closely with the seniors that we work with here, and was able to take 5 students yesterday to the event and kind of work with them to get their applications out and their resumes out to businesses. So approximately 16 of the 25 students that I'm working with have completed resumes that are ready to go for job fairs and different events like this, so we can get them out there to employers. a few of the different industries there were healthcare, food services, manufacturing, construction, architecture. So it was a really good event in order to get our students in front of a lot of different employers. We also had an opportunity, I was able to get the Chief Executive Officer of CPS, Dr. Janice Jackson, to come over to the table and speak with our students and get some really good photo opportunity for the students to be able to speak to somebody at her level and, have someone that they can kind of look up to as they continue down their education. So that's a really great win for us yesterday with our students, that they were prepared with their resumes, and all of the interview practicing I've been doing with them really paid off in that interaction. Currently, right now, with NIMS, the NIMS test with our teacher is scheduled between June 4th and June 8th for all of the students that he has in his class. So at this time, I don't have an exact number of students to report to that have NIMS certification. It will be going on, as I mentioned, between June 4th and June 8th. And then as far as specific jobs that have been lined up for our students going into the summer, Jake with Youth Guidance was able to attain 2 potential internships at Ford for our students, and I was able to work with one of our students who's a graduating senior to get her resume in for that potential opportunity. And then as far as other opportunities, right now at the time we don't have anything on the table, but Ted is going to jump on to kind of talk a little bit more about him specifically in his role with kind of working with the companies to get those jobs lined up. So I'm going to pass it over to Ted.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Hi, I'm sorry.
Yes,
I thought you were on speaker.
Yeah.
Not a problem. This is Ted Lykowski. I work with ISAT, and over here at Bowen, I'm the industry coordinator. Our update is coming out of our spring break internship program. We had 3 of our students that were offered full-time positions, and a 4th one, upon her turning 18 later this month, will also receive an offer to go work full-time. The students are in the process of deciding if they want to do that, and they're considering some other options. Additionally, we have, go ahead.
I was going to say, what's the full-time opportunity? Is it a particular job, or it's just a couple?
They were at 3 different companies. Well, we had 5 different companies, but we have a full-time job offer for an assistant warehouse manager with a major construction company, in which the student can, after working there for a while, be sponsored into the trade union. We have another one with a big packing corporation, in which a student would be hired as a laborer there, working in a variety of roles as needed. And the third one is with the foundry. A student would be a laborer in a foundry industry. So those were the 3 that came out of the spring break internship. They're looking to consider that. As ISAT mentioned, we have a 4th one that's being considered for a Ford internship program that was set up by Youth Guidance. And then we have approximately a handful to 10 other companies that have openings, and it's just a matter of determining if the kids want to work upon graduation or not. And then we also attended the job fair yesterday. A couple of the girls were speaking to a few of the construction companies there. There was some interest in 2 summer internship programs working for another major construction company, in which these ladies would be placed on construction projects near their house for 6 to 8 weeks over the summer. In this situation, both of these students are looking to go to college full-time, but the exposure to the construction industry is an opportune time to learn more about that, with the thought that as they're entering college, the construction company is hoping that maybe they can sway them down a career path to the construction management side of the business, in which they can come back over multiple summers and work over Christmas in building a path with this company in particular. So that's about all the stuff that's going on right now.
Okay. And then when you guys get that fourth person signed up, can you guys send me a brief email that says Mary Jane is going to warehouse major construction, and then put the names of the company and how much they're making? If you guys could send us a brief update so I can update your file.
Yeah, now let's back up one step. As enthusiastic as that sounds there, these students have been offered the positions, but they may not be taking them. You know, some
right,
of
I'm
them.
saying whoever takes them.
Okay. Yeah,
whoever takes them.
We would gladly send you an update and let you know all the students that have taken full-time jobs. Do you also want ones that are taking summer jobs?
Yeah, summer jobs, and then whoever's going to college too. And then, you know, the names of the colleges they're going to.
So theoretically, a student could have a summer job and a note in their file saying that they're also going to college.
Yep. So you would say, hey, Sarah, Mary Jane is going to X college in, whatever, fall 2019, and she's also doing a summer internship at Ford.
Yep. Okay, cool. No, we can do that. Not a problem.
Awesome.
Yep.
All right. Thank you guys for that update. That's really good.
No problem.
All right, BCS. Oh, sorry.
No, we're done.
Oh, okay.
You're done with Boeing, correct, Ted?
Yes.
Okay,
Unless you have anything else. Okay. All right, BCS next.
Hello. So we got 52 total enrolled in the program. Out of the 52, we've had a total of 42 complete the boot camp. And we placed 30 in internships. What we will be doing for those that were not placed and did not complete, which was 22, our goal is to get 75% of them, so about 17% of them, into a reboot camp, which would be a 1-week kind of little mini boot camp to try to address some of the behaviors or issues that caused them not to complete the original boot camp, and then look at potentially placing them as well in an internship if that reboot goes well for them.
And they all have the forklift, right? The 42?
So, no. So, forklift, we have 36 completed and received their forklift. Part of the reboot is to, I think we're 3 short of our numbers, if I'm not mistaken, is to try to get them to obtain that forklift credential as well.
Okay. And what about the other? So you said so I know you have 52 that are enrolled.
Mm-hmm.
And then so are you saying the other ones just, so 52 and then 36, so the other 16 just didn't pass?
Correct. They didn't pass or they withdrew before.
Got
it. And then, so we actually, I just got an update from staff that we do have 39 that obtained it. We had a recent cohort, So we had a recent cohort for another grant that went, and then we had 3 attend that one. So we're at 39 now for the forklift credentials.
30 in internships. Okay.
Yeah, 30 in internships, and then so recently we placed a young man in an OJT using WIOA funds, so that's awesome. One of the CP participants is working at an employer in the Southland doing an OJT.
Okay.
And then we had our midterm evals for our Western cohort, and as of 5/10, pending no issues, out of the 12 that were placed, 11 right now are on track to be offered a position, 11 of the 12, and then 1 is currently behind the 8 ball, but there's no reason why he should not make the corrections that we talked about during. So fingers crossed this can be the first cohort that everyone that is placed completes their internship and potentially gets placed in full-time employment.
That's perfect. That's perfect. I have a question for you. So out of your because I know you're split up in south side and suburb and then west. So out of your west side, how many of the 39 completed the forklift?
So of the west side, I got it up right now, so I have to go, so west side.
The last number I have for you is
South
22. I just want to make sure that's
1 and 2, so I'll tell you right now. So of the west is actually 21 of the west.
okay. So 21 have forklift. Okay.
Yeah, 21 has forklift from the west, and then in addition to the 3 for the Southland, we have 17 total.
17 total for the west side. Right?
Yes. No, so 17 total for the south side.
Sorry. 17 south.
South.
And then 21
west.
Perfect. All right. Wait, that gives me 38. Am I missing somebody?
We're missing somebody. Let me see who that could be.
It's fine. Just send me an email. It won't kill me.
I can do that.
Okay. And then we got 30 in internships that could possibly end up in jobs and 16 that didn't pass. Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
Okay. Thank you, guys. The Cabot Group, next.
Good morning. You said Cabot?
Uh-huh.
Oh, hi. Good morning, everyone. So at this point, we have 22 youth enrolled into our program. We have about, I think it's 6 to 8 that have expressed interest. So we'll be looking at verifying their eligibility and assessing their suitability over the next few days, and looking to put our 4th cohort together. Of the 22, we have 19 that have at least earned one of the 6 credentials that we're putting them on track and giving them opportunity to earn. And we have 15 that are in work-based occupational skills training, as we're considering it. Going through, our focus is hospitality, culinary arts. So through their occupational skills training, they're getting the real work experience for sanitation, mass food preparation, and business management, going for a max of 360 hours. And of course, I say max because life happens to them. Some just quit going, they don't like it. Some, go consistently. Others find other things that they want to do, kind of like the lady from Felix was saying, if they can identify at KFC that they're going to get the $11 an hour for the same amount of time, they may leave versus the participation stipends. But we know the other reality is that the skill set we're trying to give them, they end up maybe coming back because they're not ready to handle, the actual employment at the time, hence why we have the training program. And so overall, we think everything is running very smoothly. I think one of the most standout lessons I personally gained from this was initially I thought that a lot of the youth would be more interested in going to the classroom-style occupational skills training with our partners at Safe Haven and Silver Fork, but they weren't. They weren't. And when we really look back, and I remember reflecting prior to getting the grant, there were a lot of older people in the program, and so I think we're getting some data that kind of just lets us know how those programs may not fully be able to maybe engage youth. I don't know the right words yet, but we do see that those programs clearly have success with matriculating. Those people seem to be 25 and older, but our age group right now for out of school, at some point, if an admissions process for those programs or actually going through the programs, the youth fell out. We're not seeing that same fallout rate with the employer-based occupational skills training component. I think that's it in a nutshell for us.
Okay. Awesome. Lewis and Clark?
Hi, this is Sabrina.
Hi, Sabrina.
So, hi.
All right, so right now what we have is we have 20 students that earned their PAC certificate in carpentry, 3 that got their flagger certification, and that's out of the 25 that we have enrolled. 1 is still working on IT, but has not completed their certification yet. And then we have 6 that we've placed in work-based learning, 4 that are in post-secondary, we've exited into post-secondary education, and 2 that have exited into unsubsidized employment. We've been working pretty regularly with our program coordinators. We've had 1 student just recently call in that are interested in the truck driving program in the fall, and with the addition of the health sciences, we're hoping to be able to enroll some students into CNA and EMT, as well as our IT, at around July 16th, because that's when our next enrollment is.
Okay, I just want to make sure my numbers are right. So I have for IT you have 1, 20 in construction, and a flagger is 3, and I'm getting 24. Am I missing somebody?
We have a 25th person who went through the construction program, Tier 1 construction youth build. He had some special learning needs and was not able to complete the PAC certificate, so he did not earn the credential.
Got it. Okay.
All
so
25 of our youth,
actually.
yeah. Okay. And then all 25 of our youth did receive OSHA 10 and CPR first aid certificates as well.
Okay.
Okay.
And then you have
we
6
currently,
that are in jobs.
And we have 7 job sites currently. We have a business relations committee, and they'll be meeting with some more employers one-on-one. They're meeting to find out how we can kind of strengthen those relationships, to see if it's more on-the-job training or if they're more interested in employment on the kind of on the later side once they've already gone through that OJT training and hiring students at an unsubsidized.
And then can you send me an email for the 4 that are going to school, just where they're going to school, and then the 2 that are in employment that are that's unsubsidized? Can you send me to, where they're working at and their wages? Awesome.
Sure.
All right.
And then, thank you. Oh, I was just going to say, one of the struggles as far as on-the-job training, I know we were addressing that, is just that we do have 4 16-year-olds, and they can't be placed on the job sites until they're 17. And so we're just working on some other options for the students that we do enroll at 16 years old.
Okay. I didn't think about that, yeah.
Well, and that's all I have.
Okay. Thank you for that update. And last but not least, Youth Build Lake. Are you on the phone? Awesome. All right. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Looks like we are finishing right on time this week. I know last week we ran over, so I want to give you guys at least 2 minutes of your day back.
Wait, sorry. First, they need to go.
Oh, my God. Hello? Hello? Prairie State, it sounds like Prairie State wanted to go.
Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, it was a lot of feedback. I think
I'm
it's
so
better
sorry.
now.
Yeah, I had multiple devices going. Basically, our update is that we are finishing up the first cohort, and many of them are graduating high school, and we have half of the classes graduating high school and kind of finishing out our program, and then the other half that's continuing on to their associate's degree. So we kind of are juggling a little bit with the course there, but they all will be taking their industry certification exams the 21st through the 23rd of this month. So we have been preparing them to take their practice exams and seeing how they do. 6 have successfully passed 2 parts of their exam as far as the practice go. So we're kind of trying to get a realistic number of how they're doing. And then once that wraps up, then we're going to start working on the cohort that's coming in the fall and trying to work out as many kinks from that cohort that we learned from this past cohort.
Awesome. And then have you guys done the work experience part yet? Are you?
The work experience. I'm not certain because I don't handle that part of it. I can ask.
Yeah, just let me know. Shoot me an email. Let me know. And also in the email, let me know out of the 11 that are going to school, what schools they're going to and that kind of stuff. And if anybody's working outside.
Okay. So working outside.
Or if you have, somebody that's like, hey, I'm not going to school, but I am going to go to work and,
Okay. Colleges. Yeah, I do believe they're all going to college. College attending, working outside. And then what was the other one you asked? The first one, I'm sorry? Work site something?
Yeah, so have they done the internship? Or if they have, where were they done at? How many, youth were at each one? And then of the 11 that are going to school, which schools?
Okay.
Okay.
How many have attended internship? Okay, and that was for the last cohort or for the new one?
For the last one.
Okay. All right.
For the 22 that you have in the program.
Okay. All right. Sorry you haven't received that. Okay, thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Is there anybody else that needs to go that wasn't? Hold on. All right. Thank you guys so much for your attention and time and questions and comments. Like I said, that roundtable discussion is coming up, so be on the lookout for that. Email me, call me if you have any questions. I'm always here. Thank you guys and have a great day.